And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show. Broadcasting live from the Morago Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. Mr. Randy Wangs at the sports desk across the glass.
John, the work never stops at JohnnyDon'tLikeShow@gmail.com, where our investigative reporters are constantly digging and digging and digging into the past lives of some of the personalities that we feature on this show. Did you know that Cecily Mara Cruz, before she became a teacher and before she became the president of UTLA, had auditioned for the part of Wimpy on the Popeye cartoon?
I did not know that.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Alex sent us that one. Thank you very much.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is a deputy district attorney in Los Angeles County. He's also a candidate for district attorney of L.A. County. You can get him online at jonathanhatami.com. John Hatami, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so I want to get your perspective on this because I think something sinister is coming down the pike. The smash and grab crimes that we've seen here in Southern California recently have not only dominated the local news, they've gone international. People have seen those images far and wide. And our elected officials, instead of looking at it and saying, oh, my God, this is embarrassing, we need to do something about this. Let's get rid of our DA. Let's get rid of Prop 47. And let's get serious about bringing public safety back to Los Angeles. You would expect that to be their reaction. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. What they are now doing is they are going after the news media for showing the videos on television and talking about them on the radio. Let's listen to DA George Gascon.
What do you say to the person who points a finger at you, saying that there are people in this community who believe they can get away with serious crime in L.A. County and not be held accountable?
Well, I would ask you the question, what would you tell them when you just heard me speaking right now? Because I think you have a responsibility also for addressing it, right? So I would hope that you do so.
Here's L.A. Mayor Karen Bass.
However, when you have a spectacular type crime happen like this, it does create a sense of fear. But one of the reasons it does is because it's exploited by the press, and especially the conservative press that wants to paint Los Angeles and many other Democratic-run cities as though we are in a crisis of crime, and that is not the case.
And here is Assemblywoman and candidate for Congress, Laura Friedman.
We also need to stop scaring the heck out of people. You know, we've got people in this country that drive around with guns and walk around with guns because they've been told that there are people that are going to kill them every step of the way. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a media that stokes the fear people have against each other and against their neighbors, and we need to hold them more accountable for stoking that kind of fear.
Not holding criminals accountable, holding the news media accountable for reporting on these crimes. Your thoughts?
You know what, John? They just came out with statistics yesterday, and the statistics showed that there is almost a 200% increase in the amount of department store crimes here in Los Angeles from 2020, before we had George Gascon, until this year. So the mayor, the DA, the governor, even the president of the United States can blame the media, but the media has nothing to do with what's going on right now here in Los Angeles. We can create all the task forces we want, but unless they actually get rid of George Gascon, we're not going to solve the smash and grab problems here in Los Angeles. We have continued crime here in Los Angeles where people feel like they're just not going to be held accountable or responsible for their crimes. That has nothing to do with the media. That has nothing to do with anyone but George Gascon. In addition to the fact, it's really clear, John, the fact of the matter is this. The DA lacks complete transparency. He wants to sit up in his office and blame the media for what's happening. He needs to look at one person, himself. He's the one who came into office and told people he wasn't going to hold them accountable. He instituted zero bail. Well, we had numerous individuals who were arrested and just released almost minutes later. These individuals continue to commit crime upon crime upon crime. There's 16 and 17-year-old juveniles that he refuses to charge felony theft and felony burglary. So these individuals commit crime upon crime upon crime. In addition to the fact that he basically said that when he came into office that he wasn't going to hold individuals accountable for committing crime. He wanted them released instead of caring about actual public safety. So it isn't the media's fault. It isn't anybody's fault but George Gascon and his lax and soft on crime policies.
What do you make of the fact that these same politicians will not say, if you participate in a smash and grab, you need to go to jail? What they're saying is we need, quote unquote, accountability. But accountability to George Gascon means you arrest them, you book them, you release them immediately, and then they're free to do it again. From his point of view, that's checking the box, and that's the system working, and that's accountability.
You're exactly right. Here's the problem. George Gascon doesn't believe in punishment. George Gascon doesn't believe in prioritizing public safety. George Gascon is more concerned with the criminal than he is with innocent individuals. You know, family members are afraid now to even go shopping because they're afraid that there's going to be a smash and grab mob style burglary or robbery. It's scaring them. It's scaring the children who are going to these establishments. It's scaring families. In addition, a lot of these individuals are violent. You know, the fact of the matter is this. George Gascon instituted zero bail on December 7, 2020. He supported zero bail. He refused to go to the court hearing that was deciding zero bail. He's supported this procedure and this process for the last years. He's been the DA. There's been a massive increase in department crimes from 2020 until the present. We've had over a 200% increase from 2020. We've had over 120% increase from last year to this year. He could cite all the data and science that he wants, but the facts are clear that we've had a major increase in smash and grab burglaries and robberies here in Los Angeles. And this is it, John. What you need to do and what I'm going to do as DA is tell people on day one, you will be held accountable and responsible for your crimes. And what does that mean? You are not only going to be arrested, we're going to make sure that we do bail deviation motions, and I'm going to send my prosecutors into court to make sure that these individuals are not released on zero bond, and then we're going to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. And that means prosecuting them with felonies. I know George Gascon doesn't believe in that since he was the co-author and architect of Prop 47, but I hate to tell you this. We need to stop the lawlessness here in Los Angeles. And we need a DA who's going to prioritize public safety and keep innocent individuals safe.
Why do you think so many politicians here are very cowardly when it comes to addressing the elephant in the room, which is that public safety is just not possible with George Gascon as DA? And I say that because you referenced the task force. We had a big press conference here that the mayor was at, the police chief was at, all these public officials were at, and George Gascon was not there. And we later found out that George Gascon was not invited to this press conference. And Mayor Karen Bass was asked about George Gascon repeatedly, and she would just get irritated whenever she was asked about him, but she wouldn't call him out. She wouldn't say that he wasn't invited to the meeting. She wouldn't explain why he wasn't invited to the meeting. And she wouldn't explain why he is derelict in his duty to protect the people of Los Angeles County. She just pretended like he didn't exist and was upset whenever someone would bring up his name. You can't ignore your way out of this problem. You have to confront it. And you can tell that she knows that he's a cancer, but she won't call him out. And if she doesn't call him out, it's not going to get better.
I mean, you're right, John. Here's the thing. The elected DA of Los Angeles wasn't even invited to this so-called task force. The person responsible for actually prosecuting smash and grab burglaries and robberies wasn't even invited to the task force. What does that tell you? And here's the big problem, John. They're afraid of the party. That's it. They're afraid of the party. I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to tell you this. It's more important to me to protect children and to protect families than anything to do with my political party. Public safety is the right of everyone. It has nothing to do with a party. It has to do with doing the right thing. And the problem we have here is so many individuals are so scared to go against their party. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to stand up for children who have no political party, who can't vote, who have no lobbyists. At the end of the day, they deserve to be protected. And so if the political party, my own party doesn't back me, so be it. My job is to make sure that children are safe in this community, and I'm going to do that. And if that means calling out George Gascon, that's what it means. And we need to call him out. He's not doing his job. He's not protecting children. He's not protecting families. He's not protecting family-owned businesses. He's not protecting anybody but himself. And so it's sad that a lot of so-called leaders are scared to get up there and say, listen, who cares about party? This person is just a bad person. He's not a good DA. He's not protecting all of us, and he needs to go. And we need to get him out of there.
I'll tell you what's frustrating about this to me. You can tell. You can see it in her face. You can see it the way when she reacts to questions about George Gascon. She understands that he's a buffoon. She understands that he has destroyed public safety in Los Angeles County. And the minute she gets out of office, she's going to be honest about it. The minute she is a former mayor, either she loses re-election or she's termed out, she will go off on him like nobody's business. The same way that Jerry Brown did it the minute he got out of office about the budget, and we see it so often. I just wish that these politicians would have the courage to say what they actually think when they're in office and they have the power to do something about it, as opposed to when they're a former somebody.
And, you're right. And I'm going to tell people this. If you vote for me for DA, that's what you get. What you see is what you get. I'm here for the people. I'm not here for any political party. I'm not here to advance myself into any other position in government. I've been a prosecutor for 17 years. I've been fighting for abused and neglected and murdered children for 17 years. I'm going to continue to do that. I believe that you need to stand up for the people. The people have a right to have leaders stand up for them. And when you hear, Governor Newsom, when you hear Mayor Bass, when you hear, Sheriff Luna, it'd be nice if one of them just said, hey, DA George Gascon, do your job. He was elected to be the district attorney of Los Angeles, and he's failed to do his job. They shouldn't be scared about the truth. The truth is just the truth. And you should get up there and tell everybody George Gascon isn't doing his job. I don't care what political party he belongs to. He's not. He's horrible at his job. He's not protecting any of us. He needs to get kicked out of office, and we need to take our office back and give it back to the people. And I'm running to be the people's DA. I'm running to help Republicans. I'm running to help Democrats. I'm running to help independents. Anybody who needs public safety deserves public safety. And if somebody needs to get called out, they need to be called out. That's what a leader does, is they lead by example. George Gascon has been a horrible DA. He's failed to protect us. We have smash and grab burglaries. We have follow home robberies. We have taco stands getting burglarized. All of this has become national media. The whole entire nation is seeing it. And we just have a lawless city. And it's unfair to all of us. We need to get back to public safety in Los Angeles, and that means getting George Gascon out of office.
This upcoming year, we're going to vote in the primary in March and not June, as we typically do, because it's a presidential election, and Jerry Brown and the state legislature decided that they wanted to be relevant in the presidential primaries, and we were better off voting sooner rather than later. Well, neither primary is particularly close. California certainly won't determine who's going to be the Republican nominee or who's going to be the Democratic nominee, but everyone else on the ballot also has to run in March. And you are not the only candidate who's running for district attorney of Los Angeles County. You have other viable candidates who are also running against Gascon. I think it is absolutely within the realm of possibilities that he gets knocked out in the primary. I would love for him to get knocked out in the primary. That means we don't have to worry about him coming back and winning 4 more years in November. However, that also presents us with a problem, because if he is a lame duck starting in March, he will have 3/4 of a year in that office, and the ability to inflict as much pain on the people of Los Angeles as humanly possible. There's a reason why when a corporation fires an employee, they have a security guard at their desk with a cardboard box to get all their stuff and get them out of the building. Because if you're angry, if you've got a bone to pick with the organization, and you have access to their computers, you have access to their files, you have access to their information, you can really do damage to that organization. What we've seen from George Gascon has been horrific, but from his point of view, he's been on his best behavior because he has to go in front of the voters one more time. If he never has to go in front of the voters ever again, and he knows it, I fear for what kind of damage he could do to this county. Are people in your office talking about this possibility? Because I really do think it's something that could happen.
They are, John. It's a serious concern. Most people don't trust George Gascon to do the right thing. Most people have seen that George Gascon has allowed lawlessness here in Los Angeles. We've tried twice. I've been on the front lines twice trying to recall George Gascon out of office. We've been trying to do everything we can. We've rallied so many victims and their family members who have been abandoned by George Gascon to try to get him out. And it's been a tough challenge. I could tell you this, right now we are going to put our best foot forward to get George Gascon out of office in March. I have joined forces with a very good group of bipartisan individuals. We have endorsements from individuals from all the way up to Claremont to all the way to Lancaster. These are Republicans and Democrats who have come onto my team to say, hey, we all deserve public safety. And you know what we're going to do, John? I do believe that we are going to be successful in March, and then we're going to, hold George Gascon to make sure that he does his job, and we'll put as much pressure as we can on him to make sure that he doesn't do anything to hurt public safety here in Los Angeles, but we can't trust him. And what you said is this: March the 5th, 2024. It's coming soon. This election is incredibly important. It's important for the safety of your children. It's important for the safety of your families. It's important for the safety of this community. And if you want somebody who you can trust, somebody who has been fighting for abused and neglected children, who also is willing to bring that passion to actually giving public safety to everybody here in Los Angeles, you should vote for Jonathan Hatami for district attorney. I will not let you down. That is my word. But I'm going to tell you, we are concerned. Here's the other thing, John. As district attorneys, as prosecutors, we are going to do our job. Every day we come to work and we're going to do our job, and we fight for the people of Los Angeles, no matter George Gascon being there or not. We've sued him. We've kept to our word. We've fought for public safety, and we're going to keep doing it no matter what.
John Hatami, candidate for district attorney in Los Angeles County. You can get him online at jonathanhatami.com. John Hatami, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much, John.
It looks like we have candidate for president Larry Elder on the line. Larry, welcome.
John, thank you so much for having me. Why do they keep doing this to me? Remember when they tried to kick me off the ballot when I ran for governor? I had to take them to court. Well, I'm back in court now. I met all the RNC's criteria. They needed 40,000 individual donors. We exceeded that. They needed 200 donors from 20 different states. We got 200 donors from 37 different states. The final thing is you need to be at 1% in 3 national polls. We submitted 3 national polls, and then at the last minute they told me they were rejecting one of the polls that we submitted, the Rasmussen poll, even though it was the most accurate one in 2016, predicting that Donald Trump would win. They say it has a connection to Donald Trump. I said, even if that's true, what does it have to do with me? Furthermore, Donald Trump's not even going to be on the debate stage. And they said any poll connected with any candidate is not eligible to be used to submit for any of the candidates. I said, you didn't tell me that before. They said, yes, we did. I said, no, you didn't. So we submitted another one with me above 1%, a poll that we didn't turn in because we thought we met the requirements. So we're discussing it right now. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail, but if not, we're going to court.
Larry, I follow the RNC on Twitter, and I follow their various individuals in their PR office and communications department. They themselves cite the Rasmussen poll over and over and over again. If they don't regard it as a legitimate poll, why are they tweeting about it, and why do they promote the results of those polls when they like what they see?
That's an excellent point. Also, look how corrupt this thing is. They want us to get 40,000 individual donations, as I mentioned. One of them offered a $20 gift certificate for a $1 donation. Another one offered a free, air quotes, country western concert for a $1 donation. Another one offered a commission to prospective donors to recruit other prospective donors. I did nothing like that. I did it the old-fashioned way. I asked people for their support. I mean, honestly, how corrupt is this thing?
Well, I'll tell you, Shirley Weber became the Secretary of State through appointment, thanks to Gavin Newsom. And her first major decision in office was losing to you in court when she tried to keep you off the ballot. And the RNC, I predict, is going to lose in court. They've already been under fire for how they've handled this primary to begin with. And if you go to court and beat them, they're going to have egg on their face. That's not a good look to start a presidential election.
It's not a good look, John. And one of the reasons I think that they are doing this is because I am saying stuff nobody is saying, and I think it makes them feel uncomfortable. For example, I'm the only one who's raised the fact that in 1974, Chuck Schumer, running for a state assembly, met with a bunch of racist people in New York who wanted two tenements or two buildings full of black people out. And he agreed that if they supported him, he would introduce legislation to renovate those buildings. They would have to leave. They would renovate them so nicely that black people wouldn't be able to afford to come back, even though they'd have a right of first refusal. And voila, they'd be rid of the black people, no fingerprints. He got elected and did just that, underestimated the ability of the people to raise the money to come back, but he tried to do it. And nobody talks about it. The RNC will sit there and take all this bull about the Republicans being racist. When you got a bullet like that and you don't fire it, and I've got stuff like that I've been using for years, and I just think that I make them feel too uncomfortable.
Well, I also think that because of your background, because you are a writer, because you are a broadcaster, because your skill set lends itself to doing well at a debate, they don't want you on stage. If you were an engineer or a dentist that got elected to some congressional seat somewhere, I don't think they'd care. But because this is in your wheelhouse, because you are a professional debater and communicator, they don't want you on that stage because this is where you excel.
Well, and they want Ron DeSantis. I believe that the RNC does not want Trump. They feel that Ron DeSantis is somebody with less drama, whatever, but that's the person that they want. And this may sound immodest, but to follow up on what you just now said, I've been on the stage in Iowa and in New Hampshire on 3 occasions with all the major candidates. And 3 of us get standing ovations, Donald Trump, Vivek, and me. The others do not. And so this is exactly my skill set. I've been talking about this stuff for 40 years. Some of these candidates are coming up with proposals I've written about 15 years ago, and I believe that they think I'm a threat to the guy that they really want, who is Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, maybe they have an ulterior motive, or maybe they're just really bad at their jobs. Incompetence is usually higher up on the list than we assume that it is.
Either one is bad.
All right. Larry Elder, candidate for president. I think you'll be successful. I think you'll be on that stage. And best of luck when you get there.
And please have people go to my website, LarryElder.com, because after this debate, the criteria gets even more onerous to make the second debate in September at the Ronald Reagan Library. So LarryElder.com, please donate.
All right. Larry Elder, thanks so much for stopping by.
You got it, John. Thank you.
If you want to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And if you want to send your friends and family a podcast of our interview with Larry Elder, who the RNC is trying to keep off that debate stage tomorrow night, Randy, that's easy to do.
That's right. You go to KABC.com, click on podcasts. You go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes, search for The John Phillips Show on YouTube, subscribe to the playlist, and you can go all the way back. You can listen to this Larry Elder interview, you can listen to the one from last week, or you can listen to the one from last month.
Unless Joe Biden can can screw up a mirror.
Larry,
you're on the freaking radio.
I said screw up.
That was a classic. All right, here's a question. At 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The RNC, Republican National Committee, is trying to keep Larry Elder, the sage from South Central, off that debate stage tomorrow night, despite the fact that he's met all the criteria that they require. Are they doing that because they're stupid or because they're corrupt? Those are our two options. Which one is it? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The RNC says they're going to keep Larry Elder off the debate stage tomorrow night, despite the fact that he's met all of the criteria that they require. Larry is now taking them to court, trying to force them to allow him on stage. Who knows which way the courts will rule? What I do know is that Larry has met the requirements, and he certainly belongs on stage. Why do you think the RNC isn't allowing Larry on stage? Is it because they're stupid, or is it because they're corrupt? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with David in Long Beach. David, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hello, John and Randy. I'm an Elder supporter. This is corrupt. But you know what, if you'll allow me, it's also moronic. And I'm no longer a Republican. I'm a conservative. I got out of the party years and years ago, my wife and I. And however, I would say the second biggest problem that we have besides the Democrats and who's running this country, state, local, and certainly nationally, are the Republicans. They are their own worst enemy. I despise these people like McConnell, and just put 50 names behind him, and then you'll pretty much have it covered. That's pretty much what I'm going to say, John. I thank you for putting Elder on. I've been following him for years. He has never disappointed me in bringing the receipts on any interview, radio, TV, you name it, or a public appearance. He's just a fabulous man, and I respect him greatly. Pretty much what I wanted to say, John.
Well, thank you for the call, sir. And I would also say this. Be careful what you wish for. The parties always think that if they put their hand on the lever, they can make sure their favored candidate wins. In 2016, these same people didn't want Donald Trump. They all wanted Jeb. How'd that work out for him?
Please clap.
Let's go to Vincent in Orange. Vincent, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hey there. How are you all doing? Thank you for all that you do in exposing all this insanity to light. RNC's incompetent, and yep, as the other gentleman said, they're part of the swamp who Trump is also trying to clean up. He didn't realize early enough that they were part of it as well. So that's kind of where things are at the moment. Hope Larry can get in there. He's an astute person, and I'm sure he will bring a lot of information to light that others wouldn't want to bring up.
Well, and I'll say this as well. Thank you for the call, sir. What Larry mentioned is also correct. That governor of North Dakota, who's a very rich man, was handing out $20 gift cards if you're willing to donate $1 to his campaign. And I think that mayor from Miami was doing the same thing.
That is as crooked as hell.
So they're going to allow that, but they're not going to count a Rasmussen poll when the RNC itself cites Rasmussen polls in their social media. Makes absolutely zero sense. Let's go to Dave in Orange. Dave, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yeah, your previous callers pretty much sold under. I mean, they're corrupt. It's rigged. The whole thing's stupid. I'll no longer money the Republican National Committee ever again.
Yeah, and again, they're pissing off their own people. This isn't the Democrats complaining about the RNC. These are Republicans complaining about the RNC. And we live in a republic where we all get to vote. We all get to have our say. And especially for those of us who live in states that are deeply blue or deeply red. There's really about 10 purple states where their vote matters in the primary. It matters in the general. If you lived in Nevada, your vote matters a lot both times. But in California, we know how the state is going to go in November. That's already predetermined. Our vote really doesn't matter in November. It does on down ballot races, not for president. Our vote only matters in the primary. And so if you take away our ability to listen to all the candidates and to hear what they have to say, then what you're doing is you're even taking away the vote that we have that matters. So then the only thing that matters if you live in California is if you write a check to one of these people, because your vote in the primary doesn't matter. Your vote in the general election doesn't matter. That's not what you want. You want to create excitement. You want people to watch these debates and find someone they get fired up for. Because if they're engaged in the process and they're paying attention, then they're more likely to show up and vote for all your other people down ballot. If suddenly people say, I'm not even going to watch that debate because my favorite candidate's not appearing on stage, then maybe they'll vote, maybe they won't. But take the sure thing. Get people excited about it and get turnout out. Turn out up.
And turn up out.
I turned that into a vegetable. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Despite the fact that he met all of the requirements, the RNC wants to keep Larry Elder off of tomorrow's debate stage. Are they doing that because they're stupid or corrupt? Sally in Irvine. Sally, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hi, John. Thank you so much. I could spit nails. I'm so upset about this. It has nothing to do with whether I'll vote for Larry as president if he won the nomination. Of course I would. It's more that he is a brilliant man. He is the one that will ask the best questions of all. And for them to keep him out of this smacks of, as everyone has said, corruption. But here we are, Republicans. We're supposed to set the standard of fair play and morality. We're not supposed to be these corrupt jerks that play things all to what's the word I'm looking for? Set it up.
Okay, thank you for the call. Your connection is really bad, so it's making me feel like I've had a series of strokes.
I'm starting to think that's us.
Is that us?
Maybe the next caller, I'll try the other phone bank. Because I think that's happened on the last 3 calls, and there's no way that is all coincidence.
I don't know. Maybe the storm took out the cell phone towers. Let's try Brett in Irvine. Brett, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yeah, I'm in Irvine, too. Let's see if that's out on me. It's easy to say both, but I see a pattern here. And by the way, Larry Elder is the first white supremacist I've ever voted for. I love him. I think he's a clear thinker. I would vote for him in a heartbeat. But I think the pattern is like this. Larry Elder is a clear thinker. The enemy of the left is logic and truth, objective standards. So Larry Elder's a threat. So they present an argument. Larry refutes it, or anyone on the right refutes the argument of the left. Then they go to censorship, and then they go to cancellation. And Larry is probably at that cancellation point. They keep censoring him. He's got his own radio show. We love him in the media. Whenever he's on, he's great. He's very good at articulating our position. So I think it's cancellation at the point. They don't want to see, especially a black man that's not Afrocentric left.
We're experiencing some technical difficulties with the phones.
That one was my fat fingers.
Okay.
Can't blame that one on Ma Bell.
But that one had the weird cutting out, too.
I have emailed engineering. I don't think it affects the guest line, just the caller's line. So fantastic for a caller show to have that. But we will pay our phone bill and hopefully have that fixed.
We're literally the last show in LA radio that takes calls, and it doesn't work.
If the cashier is dummy.
All right, here's another theory on what's going on with Larry. It has been alleged by people who support some of the other candidates that some of the people running for president aren't really running for president. They're running to get their platform out there, and if Donald Trump were to win again, they want a position in his administration. And it's been alleged that Vivek is doing that, and it's been alleged that Larry is doing that. And so I think part of what the RNC is fearing is that if Vivek or Larry get on stage and someone like, let's say, Chris Christie starts going after Trump, or let's say Pence starts going after him, Larry is going to jump all over Chris Christie, and Vivek is going to jump all over Chris Christie. And from the point of view of the RNC, they're perfectly happy with Chris Christie out there slitting Trump's throat. And since Trump isn't there and is not there to defend himself, he'll need other people on that stage to speak up for him. Well, if you want a position in a Trump administration, then you being the Christie slayer moves you up the list. And I think that's what they fear the most about Vivek. That's what they fear the most about Larry. Vivek met the criteria going away. His polling is much better than many of the other candidates. Larry's had a tough time with some of the polls, but he certainly met the criteria. They figured they can keep Larry off the stage. Vivek, they can't do anything about. But guess what? Larry did meet the criteria, so I assume he's going to win his lawsuit and he's going to be on that stage.
Now, John, this is just breaking. Chris Christie has put out a statement responding to the fact that Larry Elder is being blocked from the debate stage. Would you like to hear it?
Let's hear it.
Quite a poignant speech.
Yeah, he's got a voice for radio.
I've been doing that dumb bit here for 10 years.